I really am curious where you're going to go with this. I'm very excited about it.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's always an adventure.
Yes.
For the second time, talking with David Mangini.
That's it. You pronounced it well.
It used to be Mangini.
Va bene così, certamente.
But your grandfather changed it?
Great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather. Okay, we first did a podcast in Dutch for Leven Zonder Stress.
Yep.
And now you're a guest in Life Without Stress.
Fantastic.
Is it possible for you a life without stress, David?
It's not possible a life without stress, but I have really gone through some transformation in the last several months, and now I have a way to deal with the stress when it hits.
Yeah.
So I think stress is unavoidable, but it's how we respond to it. And I feel like I found a way to deal with it in a healthy way and process it without going crazy.
Going down the drain.
Exactly.
First thing I noticed is that you lost a couple of pounds.
Yep.
How many? Since 3 months.
Well, the story begins in November when I started intermittent fasting, and since I started intermittent fasting, I have lost 14 kilos.
What's intermittent fasting?
Intermittent fasting is it's kind of like Ramadan, but not Ramadan. What I mean by that is that I only eat in my eating window, which is from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. every day, and outside of my window, I do not eat, not a bite, nothing.
Except water.
Except water.
Yeah, or tea maybe?
Tea and black coffee as well.
Okay.
So what that has led to, and it's an interesting question, your timing is very good. You feel those kinds of things, Kika. I'm actually on an extended water fast this week. Today is day 4. So you remarking like, wow, that's probably because I've lost a lot of water weight this week.
Wow.
And actually it's 4.6 kilos since Saturday. So that goes pretty fast. And your question when I came in is, what is the secret? I'm not calling it a secret, but I am saying for health primarily, and as a byproduct, weight loss, fasting is effective.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they used to do it a couple of thousand years ago, so it must have worked.
Correct.
I heard it does a lot with your mental state also.
Yes.
What does it do? You get more focused. You get more energy. What does it? How does it work?
Both of those. That was my way in, because Dominique came to me and she said, I just heard a podcast about fasting for depression, and I will try anything. You know my past about depression. Now, I know it's no secret. I am bipolar disorder, so I take my health seriously. And when I heard that, I was like, I'm in. I started the next day, and what it ends up giving me indeed is focus, energy, a kind of alertness that is not normally there. I'm present. You know, for some reason it creates that in my body. Yeah. But I really like the spiritual journey part, to be honest with you, because it's not easy.
Oh, I can imagine.
You really have to face discomfort and process it in some way.
Does you feel hungry?
No? You'd be surprised how little hunger you feel.
Yeah?
It's crazy, man. So much of hunger is mental, in my experience. And so much of our culture teaching us we need 3 meals a day with snacks that's an outdated myth.
It's a routine.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's not how our forefathers lived, you know, when they were scraping for nuts or whatever, trying not to get killed by a woolly mammoth. But for me, it just simplifies the whole process. And I life chart everything, obviously. And I really have not I've only had a couple of afternoons of depressive episodes since I started. Is that all fasting? No, it's a combination of things that we do. Yeah. But, you know, your remark was based on weight loss, and you can't not do that if you take on that lifestyle.
Yeah. And it looks like your how do you say it in good English? Je kijkt anders uit je ogen. Your look.
Yeah, interesting.
It changed.
Yeah. That you're not the first person to say that. And that I think that is heightened during a longer water fast. There's all kinds of chemical processes that go on that create a kind of sparkling renewal type situation.
Yeah.
But the last time I did a longer fast, which was 4 days and is not extremely long in the fasting community, but I had a close friend remark and say, dude, you look like 29.
Yeah, you look.
Which you know, for a 51-year-old guy is like, oh, tell me more.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, there's some kind of rejuvenation that takes place. Yeah. And it is not easy at times, but hunger, no, not really, man.
Bored, maybe?
There's a bit of bored. There's a bit of like, now what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Another water? And I mean, let me be honest. There are moments when I get like, I had one last night, actually. Now that you ask, right before I fell asleep, I just got obsessed with tacos. Tacos. And the crunch of the shell, you know, and you kind of go down that road. Yeah. But you know what? I mean, it's like everything in spirituality. It's just a thought that needs to pass. Let that cloud pass.
Yeah.
And it will.
You could explain this as a kind of self-torturing.
Interesting statement. Okay, tell me more, Patrick.
Well, you know, my ego likes to choose the opposite side, so
Yeah, right.
it helps in interviews. But
Yeah.
you know, this would be great for me. I know it for sure. But
Yeah.
there's some voice in me that says, "Why torture yourself like that?
Yeah.
You know, it's the only thing you love. It's your hobby. Going to Burger King and I'm looking forward to dinner and then to lunch and."
Yep. I hear you.
Yeah.
I really do hear you. And look, I would also admit that there is a part of me that has to be aware of self-punishment.
Yeah.
For sure. And I've got that firmly in my sights
Yeah.
when I indulge in a fast.
Because there's a part of you that hates itself.
It's correct.
Yeah. We all have it in us.
Yes.
I'm guessing if you're depressed, that part gets
magnified. Sure. So, you know what? That's really an insightful question because I recognize that for sure. But once I got into it and got involved, it's really, there's an incredible benefit. And I love Big Macs, dude. Don't get me wrong. You know, I mean, seriously. But there's more.
And aren't you afraid that this is going to end and then you're going to fall back into old routines?
That fear is always there. That fear is also there for me with alcohol and drugs too, though. So I kind of live with that. Oh, but what if type of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not overwhelmingly stopped by that fear. In fact, this is the second longer fast I've done, and I'm very, very plant-based curious. I'm not that far. I can't really articulate or envision a life fully plant-based with how I live it now with kids.
Yeah.
And that could be rationalizing it, but I'm very curious about that effect on the human mind, spirit, and body to just not eat animal products.
And you're not wearing a green for no reason. You have a green jacket
Maybe
on.
that's what I'm trying to put out there. It's the green.
For people who didn't hear our first conversation, if you talk Dutch, please look it up. It's about your book and your podcast. That's called How Not to Kill Yourself. I'm not really that curious anymore to talking about suicide and stuff. Are you okay with that?
Totally. You know what? To be honest with you, neither am I so much. It's there and it's in my mission, and I am open to suicidal ideation if people want to talk about it. But I've noticed talking about my own moment.
Yeah.
I'm a little past it, to be honest.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
What does it do with your self-confidence, this fasting? Are you more proud of yourself right now?
That's, it's not like, oh, here's a goal and I'm achieving it and that creates pride. But of course, it is a challenge, and to succeed at anything is fulfilling.
Yeah.
So there is some kind of pride or fulfillment going on around it.
I can imagine when you come in and the first thing I say, man, you look good. That does something with you.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Although I must say, to the weight loss part for me, I was a skinny kid. So...
Oh.
In fact, I had somebody remark after I did the first one. They said, je krijgt een beetje een ingevallen bekkie.
Oh, yeah.
Translation for you're looking like a junkie, dude. And that I don't like.
No.
So I got to be aware of not losing too much. But I think what people respond to is more that your cells are just rejuvenating and recreating themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's what comes out.
So it has a name. It's intermittent
fasting. Yes.
Is it based on a book? Is it based on a philosopher or on a philosophy?
Right. Well, I think you already mentioned it. It's based on the Muslims, the Jews, the Christians. Every single religion has done it. But I think the sort of the moment it's having right now in the bigger popular culture is there are several books. Dominique turned to an author called Jen Stevens. She wrote a book like Fast, Feast, Repeat. I read that book, and in the podcast, The World is Huge. The community is massive. So I just got involved in that and took it from there. And, I don't really like... Dominique has her own group on Facebook, and I'm not like, that's for women only, and I'm not involved in the community. I just only eat like that. It's kind of how I've started eating, as opposed to being an intermittent faster. But the longer fasts, that one I'm really on board, because that's like running an Ironman. You know what I mean?
And when are you planning to go do that?
Well, I'm on day 4 right now, and I don't have an end date for this particular fast. But I think what I would like as a goal is to make it through to my yoga class on Saturday and do that yoga class clean without having eaten, and then break my fast right after. So that would be Saturday about 11 a.m. Yeah.
The other talk, you told me something about the medication you take. Wow. How does that combine? Are doctors satisfied with this, or could it...
You know, if I was to go to one of the world's most famous center for health that does fasting and recommends it for human beings is called True North in Los Angeles. And they would say, if I was their patient, they would say, we don't want you to take those antipsychotic medications while you're here. But they're super hardcore. They're also like, don't brush your teeth, don't use deodorant. I'm like, that's going a little far, pal.
Okay, yeah.
So your question is intelligent in the sense that, yes, that is putting a chemical in, but I want to take that medication for now, just for my mood stabilization. And you know what I mean?
I can imagine, but normally you take them while eating, after eating.
I normally take it at 9 p.m. and then usually an hour later, I'm nighty night. So
that's no problem.
Yeah, but medication is also a fascinating subject that I would love to go down that rabbit hole with you too, because I would most likely, ideally, at some point, I would like to go off the medication and not be putting toxins into my body.
I can imagine.
That's my goal.
Yeah. And is there have you found a way? Because I recently saw a documentary on Dutch national TV that's pattern to build off those medicines.
Right.
They're not so really. Doctors are not so kind in prescribing that. They just want to keep you on the pills, and it goes well now. And why change it,
dude? I mean, you that's what you're saying. It's like, that's harder work for them. You know, if we really are going to get intellectual about this and figure out a better way, then it's easier to be on the pill, for sure. And I don't know about in the Netherlands, but in the United States, certainly there are certain doctors who get paid for that. And that, you know, there's a financial incentive to keep people. But I mean, I think the bigger picture is that it's easier than we think. But I know I'm in treatment at a place called Utrecht in Utrecht. I brought up the subject of what is the protocol to get off medication. That's quite intense. There's a lot of things that need to be, a lot of boxes that need to be checked before you can really go off. But, you know, at some point we'll start that process. We're not that far yet, but I want to live a life without toxins going in. That's one of the reasons I recently stopped caffeine, and, you know, I'm taking it seriously. It might sound extreme to your listeners, but to me, it's just the step forward.
Yeah. And what works, that works.
Correct.
For people who don't know David Mangine in person, you did the book, you did the podcast, you're working on a new book.
Correct.
The Adventures of Bipolar Boy.
You got it, man.
I remember
it's coming out in January. Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
And is it what is it an adventure story? What is it?
Yeah. Well, yes, it is an adventure story. Yeah. Absolutely. It is my best self who, once he is diagnosed with a disorder, he Googles, what is the best way to live with this disorder? And he picks out those things as life rules. And he, in his best self, lives them. But you don't need me to tell you, we all got the lizard brain. And there's the bad guy who is out for trouble. Yeah. And those two are in constant conflict. And that is the book. So you will see me on a yoga mat, but you'll also see me in a strip club in Amsterdam. All true stories. I was super open in this book, and I'm really proud of it. So
you're not afraid of the reactions it's going to get from family and close friends?
Yeah, sure I am. Of course I am. Yeah, there's that. That thought is there. I have, the people that were intensely connected to this story, I have talked to them and they've read things, and certain things have been changed. That is so in that sense, that's a good point you're making. But hey, man, I chose to be out there, and I think we got to talk about it.
Is it a book which is going to make me laugh a lot?
I would like, that's very vain of me, but I think so. I think there's some funny moments in there. I certainly fuck up grandly in the book and have to recover from that. I think Bipolar Boy, who is my troubled devil voice, I think he's hilarious because he just is out to party, man. That's all he wants. And he wants to keep David, the healthy man, he wants to keep him teetering and on the edge. And that is can be funny. Yeah. For sure.
And how do you keep Bipolar Boy in his cage? Because we all have that animal.
Yeah, we do. We do indeed. Well, you know what? Amazing. Actually, it's not that surprising, but those life rules, Patrick, here comes a newsflash. They work. Yeah. So that's how I do it.
The life rules?
The life rules that I Googled, that's the meditation, yoga, no drugs and alcohol, exercise, mindfulness, therapy, the whole list. They work. They showed up in a Google search for a reason. They're actually effective at keeping me healthy. So that keeps Bipolar Boy in his cage. And when he comes up, again, I just let him pass. Because I know he's just trying to talk me down.
Sabotage.
Exactly. That's the word.
Yeah.
And I, you know what, the whole key is to not indulge that. And I don't feel like I'm giving up a pleasure. You know what I mean? I know that's the beauty of feeling suicidal. That sounds crazy, but there is a gift in being that dark. And that is that I don't want to go back. And I know what I got to do to not go back.
Yeah.
And that means there's pleasure in this pursuit instead of giving up stuff. You know what I mean?
Could you also say, because you tried out all those things, going to a strip club, doing lots of drugs, alcohol, that you know that what you're searching for is not to be found in that
Yes,
place?
absolutely, man. Yeah, it's not there. That's not a destination. It's, you know, we can feed our lizard brain for a while, but he gets hungry real fast.
Yeah.
And there's no long-term fulfillment in that.
And aren't you afraid? My girlfriend sometimes warns me for this, that
Yeah.
spirituality becomes the next addiction.
Yeah, that's a fair question. And I tell you what, I stay aware of that. You know, I'm not interested in another dogma. And I really love about Buddhism the way they talk about not clinging. And I love that, and not attaching. That really speaks to me. And so that is my sort of my breaks when this kinds of happen. And I feel the intensity in my personality, like, and I'm going to fast, and I'm going to this, and I'm going to. I feel that. I really do. I'm aware of that. But at the end of the day, I can let it go and just be like, nah, that's ego attachment, and I'm going to. There it goes, another cloud. But
Because I don't want to break down your fasting. I'm really have respect for that. But you could think that maybe it makes your brain produce certain kind of chemicals that are also as nice as what those drugs did.
That is happening.
Yeah.
It is a kind of high, but it is a better high because there's not that demon waiting to be like, you're running out, dude. Better call the guy.
Yeah.
It's 5 a.m. You know you want more.
It's your own chemicals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's, natural dopamine.
Yeah.
I actually heard podcast that I love. Maybe you're familiar with Rich Roll. Do you know the Rich Roll podcast?
No.
Amazing. Highly recommend it.
Okay,
We'll talk
write
about
it
it
down.
when we're done. Yeah,
Rich
it's
Roll.
great. Anyway, he was interviewing a doctor who talked about something called the hope molecule. You heard of that one?
No?
I hadn't heard of that one either. So when we exercise, the contraction of our muscles secrete a hormone that is a natural antidepressant.
Yeah.
So there you go. The hope molecule is a thing. So
Yeah, but it's far more healthier than putting new alcohol and drugs in your mouth. I can imagine. I'm just a little, now scared is not a good word, but a little anxious.
Sure.
That this could be the next thing for David that gives him pleasure, and then maybe when after half a year doesn't give him a pleasure anymore, you have to double the effort, and then triple. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean, and I'm completely aware of that. So I mean, I hear what you're saying in that, and I keep that front and center in my mind for sure.
But
There's no reason to get hooked on another thing, man.
It works. When it works, it works.
That's right.
And you're not this guy who says, well, in the summer, I'm going to Bali because I have to do yoga on Bali. And then I have to go to Mexico to do yoga.
Right.
And the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Maybe simply because it's too expensive. But
if you want to take me to Bali, I'll go.
Okay, we'll go. But, I see a lot of people in the spiritual world who are always on the next thing. Then first it was ayahuasca. Now it's chocolate bliss. And at first it was Bali, now it's Tulum in Mexico, and always searching on other places.
Totally legitimate, valid point. I mean, there's always, that's another set of conditions. I can only find some calm if I'm on Bali.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I'm upset. Well, that is not workable.
Yeah.
And it's not where I feel like my thinking is at right now,
Great.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Comedy.
Yeah.
Oh, one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah. You love to be on stage.
I do.
And entertain people. It's now becoming released again. How do you call it?
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. We can go
there.
on stage.
Yeah.
Is there anything planned?
In terms of comedy gigs,
Yeah.
well, I'm working on a 2-man show with my brother Hans Gommer, a fellow stand-up comedian, to debut at the Utrecht International Comedy Festival next March.
In Dutch or English?
The show will be in Dutch.
Okay.
It's called Kopzorgen, and we don't have a tagline yet. But anyway, it's about, he's got a angststoornis, a fear of anxiety disorder, and I've got bipolar disorder, and we're going to address that subject in the show.
Right.
In a funny way. So yes, that is happening. But in terms of live gigs, We're not that far. I've done some Zoom gigs, comedy. That was interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How did that work?
Not better than you think.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was skeptical, but then any decent comedian who calls himself a comedian has to keep getting up there. You can't just be like, well, because of the conditions, I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
So I went and did this gig, and it was, you can see the crowd, and you put it in gallery, and you can hear them.
Oh.
But there is a bit of I'm performing. You know what I mean? Happening. And that's got a limited shelf life because it's just.
But you hear the laughter?
You can hear the laughter, and you see the move, but you don't get those tiny little nuances that you can then pursue in some kind of crowd work. But I did it, and, we'll keep moving. That's what it is.
Have you seen any great comedy lately on...
Dude, every goddamn day, Patrick. How about you?
Well, I'm a documentary addict, so what do you watch?
Well, what I do is I subscribe to pretty much every comedian that I love to their YouTube channel, and I just go down my thing, and I just... What was I doing this morning? I was doing Jim Gaffigan this morning. I was doing Cat Williams this morning. You know him? Fucking hilarious, man. There's always a steady diet of Bernie Mac. You might like Bernie Mac. There's always a steady diet of a woman I love called Beth Stelling. Hilarious. So they just are in a running circle.
Yeah.
So that's medicine for me, man.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
When I was a little depressed, I bought like 6 tickets a week.
Smart.
For because it was a natural, here we go again, a natural medicine.
Correct.
Laughter.
I think I have a book in me about that.
Laughter is a medicine.
Well, and specifically the principles of improv comedy, because improv comedy is about, this is super spiritual, accept reality as it is unfolding right now. If you don't do that in improv, it's not funny.
Yeah.
And the more I get into the principles of it, I think there might be a book in there, because it is medicine, man.
Yeah.
That belly laugh will heal you.
Yeah. I just got a message on WhatsApp from a guy who used to be depressed, and he said the other podcast I do with Paul Smith, the comedian, Praten over bewustzijn. It's called Filosofie met Mayonaise on Spotify. He said it really it changed my life. It really it really helped me to relax, to get my thoughts. And now you say that because we just go sit down and we don't prepare anything.
No, we just went.
You just go ping-ponging.
Yeah.
And that's the best compliment you can get, that someone uses it as a medicine.
Yeah. It is medicine for me.
Yeah.
I know that in my life, that when I'm a little bit going a little dark, and I watch some Bernie Mac and he does an 8-minute bit about the word motherfucker. I mean, I'm pissing my pants. I think a little urine just escaped. I'm seriously, dude. There's no question to me that it can work.
There's a hero we both enjoy. He doesn't live anymore. His name is Bill Hicks.
The one and only.
Yeah, we talked about it in the Dutch interview. I still have his quotes here. Maybe there are some quotes we didn't use in the Dutch interview.
Yeah.
But for the people who know this podcast series, we talk a lot about Advaita Vedanta, Indian philosophy, non-duality.
Yep.
And he used to be someone who also talked about that on stage, right?
Yes, he certainly did. He didn't just do dick jokes.
No.
A little bit later, it took longer before he really got into what could be considered non-duality or spirituality, for sure.
He says life is just a ride. It takes you up and down and chills and trills. Is that life-changing for you when you hear Bill Hicks saying such things, or do you just take notice of them and then go on?
No, it's absolutely life-changing. We talked about this the last time. He's the reason I dared to get on a stage. I didn't know at the time it was as life-changing as it was. Looking back, it certainly is a before and after moment when I read his book and discovered his work and then went and did comedy. But certainly the idea of it's just a ride, embrace reality as it's unfolding, is a game changer.
Yeah.
100%.
How come you told me in the last interview that when you get emotional, you immediately start talking in English?
Yeah.
What's that? It's because the first 21 years of your life you lived in America?
Yeah, I moved here when I was 23.
23.
So the first, I don't know. I think there's a place that with your second language, you can't quite get all the way there. I mean, I could be successful in a business setting in Dutch. We did the podcast in Dutch. I do the Omdenken shows in Dutch, and that is successful and it's effective. But there's a limit to getting all the... I certainly feel, I don't know if you notice it, but I'm way more in the zone and not thinking about language choices today.
Yeah. And wouldn't it be a logical choice to then do comedy in English? Because it's far more true to you?
I've only ever done comedy in English.
Yeah.
I've never done it in Dutch. That's why I like this new challenge, because it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? That's a very pertinent thing to say too, because the darkest moment in the show will be my moment when I had the rope and I was ready. And that moment, we had a Zoom meeting last night. I said, man, Hans, I can't do that in Dutch. I won't be able to sell it.
Yeah.
I gotta do it in English. And he said, well, you know what? They'll be able to understand it.
Of course.
So we're gonna transition.
Okay, it's a combination.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill Hicks.
Yes.
Today, a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration, that we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There's no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we are the imagination of ourselves. And then he says,
I can feel that shit, man. Seriously. Goosebumping.
yeah, here's Tom with the weather.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Here's Tom with the Weather's a great punch. And he did that in the Comedy Pouch in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did that message even in the biggest rednecky places.
Yeah, in the Bible Belt.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. He still pulled that off.
But why does it give you goosebumps?
I don't know why. I can't really put my finger on it, but I just love that idea of ride it, man. Just ride it.
Yeah.
Just stay on it. It's going to be, look, 13.8 billion years old, this planet we're spinning on right now. We're going, man. Our clock is ticking. Yeah. So we don't have any way around that. And it could be today, man. So let's put our seatbelts on and ride it. And that's what he taught me. I've been really getting into lately. You might know this kind of twist story on Bill Hicks that Dennis Leary, a Boston comedian, fucking stole his act.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. The YouTube film's now comparing Leary stealing his bits. It is word for word, man.
Yeah.
And I think this is pre-internet. So there among comedians there, I've heard this in comedian podcasts, Joe Rogan, for example, people talking about it. And Hicks was not all that freaked out about it. He admitted that it was probably happening. I don't know if there was a confrontation, but he was kind of forgiving, and he thought,
What do we know Dennis Leary from?
Dennis Leary he broke as a comedian, and he had a song, I'm an asshole,
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
which is Hicks's vibe, but not his words.
Yeah.
But there's really some shit about smoking that is just
Smoking pot?
Smoking cigarettes.
Yeah. Oh, cigarettes.
Word for word, Hicks. It's dispiriting.
Before his death or after his death?
That's a good question. No, before he died, before he passed away, but not maybe 91, 92, and Hicks passed away, I believe, in 93. But that bummed me out, and we know Leary too. He became quite a big actor, and he was on NCIS or whatever the fuck, but he's a big name.
Your TED Talk.
Yes, sir.
What's it about?
It's about breaking taboos around mental health.
And a couple of years ago?
It was last June. It was 11 months ago. Yeah.
During
COVID.
pandemic.
Yeah, we didn't get to have much of a live audience. We had about 20 people in there.
And what were the reactions?
The reactions have been very positive, and that's one of those things where you put it out there and then you get a message from somebody who you don't know, and you realize you're getting beyond your own circle. So that's very hopeful for me. But the whole experience was incredibly, incredibly powerful.
And is there still a taboo on mental issues? It looks now in the Netherlands, where we're recording this, and we also live on where I live, that it almost is getting a hype. It's getting a trend to talk about your mental stuff.
Yeah, I think that's true to some extent, Patrick.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's kind of quote unquote cool, and that's really in the mainstream now.
Yeah.
But there's a long way between the awareness and the conversation and the action. Dude, I waited 12 months for my treatment to start. Now, if a guy's really suicidal so badly that he's going to jump off the bridge that day, that is too fucking long, and that is not okay. And the only way, and that's where I can see my mission going, we got to get legislation, we got to get politics involved. Something needs to be done around waiting lists, because
waiting list for mental health.
For me to get treatment when I'm really depressed and to have them say the waiting list is 12 months, sir.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming them. They got to do it. They're stuck in the system. But that's a long way from, it's cool to, the action part is, there's a lot of work to be done.
And how is that in America? Is it going faster?
I don't think it's any different, to be honest with you. I really don't. Except, and this is always the American Dutch thing, if you're loaded in the States, you buy your way in the same afternoon. If some billionaire's kid is suicidal and he cares enough, they'll get into a facility before the end of the day.
So no equal chances on that.
You're always better off in the States with some cash, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, you know that.
But isn't that the same here in Holland?
Sure, it is. But I think if you're more middle class, there's better options here.
Yeah.
When it comes to healthcare, I think you're this is an easier country to be sort of in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Let's take one more Bill Hicks quote.
All right, man. I do them all day, bro.
This is where we are at right now as a whole. No one is left out of the loop. We are experiencing a reality based on the thin veneer of lies and illusions. A world where greed is our god and wisdom is sin, where division is key and unity is fantasy, where the ego-driven cleverness of the mind is praised rather than the intelligence of the heart.
Dude, how timely is that for right now with the big lie?
Yeah. Yeah.
He said that shit 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And he said that on a comedy stage, man. There were 8 acts before him, and then he got up and said that shit. That is just brilliant to me.
He was very brave.
The bravest.
Yeah.
I think that's really why his reputation is so perpetual, because he was fucking fearless up there, man. He really was.
He died at the age of 36,
I believe.
Yeah.
Young man.
You could almost think that the universe, if there is a main force, just thought, oh no,
he's too much.
He's
pull him out of the game.
He's ruining the game. People have to how do you call it? Have to find this for themselves.
Yeah.
Don't
tell him.
Don't let him tell him.
Yeah, no, indeed. I think really, and obviously, I don't know if you want to go down that road, but the big lie is a big deal for Americans right now, and I think he's speaking to that. I think he means it more consumerist.
What's the big lie?
You know, that the election was a fraud, and that Biden is not legitimate, and that Trump actually won, and that January 6th was not an insurrection. Actually, it was a tourist visit. That's the big lie. And
do you believe that?
God, no. I do not believe the big lie.
Okay.
But let me just say, in defense to people who might, if you are force-fed Fox News, which is he's talking about here, you know, and you do Fox News 20 hours a day, every day, you're going to start to believe, quote-unquote, legitimate people who say, no, there was an issue in Arizona. I don't believe in the big lie. And I think it's dangerous, personally. And he did, too. So we're now tapping into Bill Hicks.
Do you still... you still follow the news in America. How is that? You voted from here?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And I'm guessing you voted
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Yes, absolutely.
And you had a sense of victory when they won?
I did. Yep.
Were you thinking, I'm going back? Now it's safe again?
No, I'm at home here, man. This is my home for sure. But I felt relieved and inspired and encouraged and hopeful.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's interesting where Biden is going is that he's actually going to get more shit done than Obama did. And when he was in Obama's administration as the VP, he was kind of like, he's the old guy and he's safe and everything. He's kicking ass. He is on it.
And how old is he again?
He's a senior citizen. He's 78 years young.
Yeah, young.
Yeah.
The
guy's a force. And I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I definitely got hooked on the news and I was reading too much dark Trump shit, but it's quiet now. Okay. It's a relief.
Great.
Yes.
One more by Bill Hicks.
Throw him in there.
The world is like a ride in an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real because that's how powerful our minds are.
Yeah.
And the ride goes up and down, around and around. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? I can hear them saying it.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm looking at them.
And other people have remembered, and they come back to us. They say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride. And we kill those people. Bill Hicks. Yeah. It's one of his most famous
So I felt something when you were reading that kind of about reincarnation. Do you believe in reincarnation?
Could be.
Yeah.
You?
I think I might. This is relatively new. That's why I'm asking the question. I'm kind of curious how you feel about that.
The Buddhists think...
indeed. Yeah. And there's a documentary out there about some Chinese prodigy, and he was 4 years old, and some masters got together like he can't be that good at that age, and that was a new life. But I don't know. I'm open to it. I don't really know.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. I've done 500 interviews. I'm not surprised by anything anymore.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And the thing I hate about people who say this is the truth, this is not, it could be both.
Yes. Indeed, it's that simple.
Maybe if you believe in reincarnation, you get reincarnated. It could be.
That could be the price of admission.
That could be. So
for sure.
what do we know for sure? You know, maybe I can ask you the question. You've done your research. You read your books. You listened to the podcast. Are you learning more or less?
What an awesome question. That is super deep. I'm learning more. I think being healthy too keeps my radars up there and keeps me open. And I want to feed myself with learning and curiosity.
Yeah.
And when you're deep in addiction like I was and deep in depression like I was, you're pretty closed off. I only opened up when I absolutely had to, which was on stage, and then it would work. But then I'd shut right back down as a kind of protective shell. You know what I mean?
You have this hunger. Feed
hunger.
me.
Yeah. I learn curiosity.
Feed me mentally.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. It is a hunger. Yeah.
And are you sometimes maybe sad? You think I've thrown away 5 years or so from my life with those depressions, or how does that work?
Yeah, I don't know. It's I try to work hard not to cherish regrets. You know what I mean? But I'm 51, as I said earlier, and there is a part of me that thinks, wow, time's limited. Every second is critical at this point in my life. So maybe a little bit, Patrick, that I think that's too bad. Maybe more drug and alcohol addiction than depression.
Yeah.
They're interwoven, but you know what I mean? I think, I could have saved some time and maybe come to this realization 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
it didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
And how do you feel about those AA meetings? Does that work?
Yeah. Interestingly, last April, when this book that we talked about happened, it all happened in a day, which is typical for my life. But that's when I started AA, and I did it very seriously for about 8 months. And since we moved to Mainz-Hegeland, left the city and moved to the country, I've been to 2 Zoom meetings online, but I'm in a place right now where I don't feel I need the meetings.
Yeah.
My sobriety feels solid, and I feel inspired and healthy. But I always check in, I went through my brother now, who's also in the program, and I'm a big fan and a proponent of it, and I celebrate AA 100%. I think it's the 12-step program in general, I think is...
So your brother is also...
And my father was an alcoholic and in AA, and his father... and
big smoker?
Yeah, for sure. The whole family is really a lot of addiction in my family. And a lot of people... How many of us are in the program? 1, 2, 3, 5 of us at various degrees. My brother, the most committed, though.
Older, younger brother?
My younger brother, 2.5 years. My brother Scott, wonderful guy. Lives in Florida. Just moved post-divorce, which is sad, but he's starting a new life just south of Orlando. Yeah. And he's the kind of guy who was a sponsor to people, and he had his own meeting. So he really taught me the ropes of using the 12 steps to let go, man, and just surrender.
Great.
Yeah.
Last time you were here, we came on the subject of trauma that gets passed from generation to generation. You told me something about how Italians were perceived and received in the town you grew up in.
Yeah.
Have you researched something about that, or have you thought about that, reflected on it?
I have thought about it. And in fact, we were talking about my band, the Jongens van Omdenken, and the guy who came to me with what we talked about in your interview, your conversation with Paul, is definitely somebody who said, dude, you need to take that on stage. That's a great story about self-worth and self-esteem. If you think, well, we're not valuable, we're not humans, we're scumbags. To be born into that shit is a big deal. There's pain and liberation in that story, and it's funny because these fucking guys were like, hey, how you doing? Hey, fuck you. Hey, those guys, they're hilarious. Yeah. And I have those characters in my past. So that's fun.
So you're thinking of turning it into art?
I think there's a story there. Yeah. I do. I think if I just tell the story of finally feeling like I have an identity, because I lived in 7 states in 10 years. So we moved a lot. But by the time we made it to the Boston area, which is where the Manginis are from, I felt like, there's The Godfather, and there's The Godfather 2, and there's Goodfellas, and this is a culture. Yeah. Finally, it's not, okay, I'm not Texan, and I'm not Californian, and I'm not Floridian, and I'm not New Jersey. Yeah. Let's just be Italians for Boston. All right, you know? And then to really realize, wait a minute, the story is we changed the name because we didn't want to be Italian? That wasn't American? Fuck. And then, but I still was in love with it, and I held on to it, and then I came over here, and I went to northern Italy, and they were like Swedish people. I was like, where are these fucking guys? It was a bit of a...
So is it about group belonging, then?
I think so. Identity for a young person,
And could you say you were a bit of on the run when you're 23, because you left everybody there and gone to Europe.
Yep.
Amsterdam, Netherlands.
Yep. That was a run, for sure.
Yeah.
I was trained well in running. In fact, my parents moved so much, Patrick. I was like, are we in the witness protection program? Because what?
Yeah, what do I miss here?
Every 5 seconds. You know, I mean, I knew, though, because I had visited the Netherlands 2 summers, I knew, hey, I can teach English there. I can learn from people here.
Yeah.
It's not just the coffee shops and the beautiful blonde girls. You know what I mean? There's something here that's speaking to me at a deeper level, which it must have been because I've been here for 27 years.
So how did it change you? When I talked to David, let's say 28 years ago, how would this conversation go then?
I would like to believe, and I think people around me would tell you too, that I have learned how to be more honest. And I've learned how that you can be honest and it won't necessarily get you fired or get you kicked out of the tribe. You know, you can say you still can say your opinion in the Netherlands, I think, more than you can in the culture I grew up in.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think I've changed, and I realize it not when I'm here, because I mean, I live with a woman who lived in Rotterdam. They're the most direct on the fucking planet. But when I go back home and I watch people interact, and I think, oh yeah, I'm approaching this very Dutch the way I'm feeling about this, and not being blunt and rude, but just honesty's okay.
But you used to be a pleaser, you told me.
I still am. I don't think that disease ever goes away,
No.
but
The disease to please, Oprah Winfrey calls it. And she
bless
also,
her.
she still lives, huh?
oh yeah, for sure. She did that big interview with Meghan and Harry.
Yeah.
That was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she also said when you're pleasing, you're trying to love yourself through somebody else.
Wow. She says some profound stuff. Oprah's helped a zillion people on this planet. I'm gonna believe that, and I'm gonna buy into that.
Yeah.
Trying to still soothe that little boy who doesn't feel like he's enough.
Yeah.
You know?
And just when I'm pleasing you, I can finally be enough. I can finally love myself.
Exactly. I can tell you that pleasing has really come on board with my therapy this winter. I've had some pretty intense sessions around pleasing and sort of using friendliness as a mask. You know?
For
anything, just to cover up and
Angriness.
get through a situation. Yeah. And you know that you're just going to go over friendly. I think a lot of Americans might have a bit of this. We are the friendly country.
Yeah.
Although I hear the Thais are very friendly. You've ever been to Thailand?
No?
Anyway.
You mean the girls with a penis?
Why are you taking us there? I just mean Thailand in general.
That's where I think of when I think Thailand. What's it called again?
They have
Boys,
a professional
boy girls?
term. They have a professional term.
Yeah, what's it?
I don't have any idea. Let's ask the community. They would have a term. But no, I think pleasing is something that long term is not good.
Okay. How is it with your self-love then? On a scale of 1 to 12. Are we on an 8 or 9?
Nice that you have a scale that goes to 12. That's why I love you, Patrick. The scale goes to 12 in this house. Self-love.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Okay.
I'm a lot better than I was 2 years ago when I was on the verge of death, to be honest. I think I'd give myself a good solid 8 right now, to be honest. Yeah.
Because of the fasting or?
Just everything that I'm doing in my life to take health seriously, but also just to enjoy the moment, man. These Bill Hicks quotes right there. That's the reason.
They
you know,
lift you up.
absolutely.
Yeah,
You know, look, we get to do this. You and I get to sit here and have this conversation.
That's great. And what about the weather?
Yeah.
You know, I was just thinking this morning when it poured down again, I think, oh, David must have sometimes hate this country because of the weather.
It's a challenge. I by the way, I was walking my lovely Labrador Lou at exactly that moment. You know what? Weather's not a reason to live anywhere, I don't think. But
it can change your.
I got to work at it sometimes to really be mindful about, okay, you're just wet. You know what I mean? That's going to go away. But it's not my ideal climate, to be honest. Where I moved from, Colorado, is super dry, super sunny. And when I feel that, I'm like,
It does something with your mental state. I know my girlfriend suffers from winter depression.
Yeah.
And last winter, we couldn't go anywhere. The winter before, we went to Curacao.
she's losing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
She
believe that.
needs the sun.
They have the lamps, right? Have you heard of the lamp?
Yeah.
Does she do the lamp?
Tried it once or twice.
Didn't help?
Not the same.
Yeah. I think it is our job to figure out that is so beyond our control, and let's not waste energy trying to figure out why is it raining? Dude,
of course.
you know what I mean? Like it's our job to realize that.
But when the sun hits, everybody's cheering, and when you're a little sensitive like you and me are,
yes, it can affect you.
You pick up the vibe.
Sure. Yeah.
I can now pick up the vibe that people are talking about the Eurovision Song Festival when we are recording this, and it makes people happy.
Yes.
And when the Dutch soccer team wins, it makes people happy, and it lifts me up also.
Absolutely. We're going to get the Dutch soccer team this summer.
Yeah, they're
and did you watch Eurovision last night? Did you spend some time with it?
No, I heard from people it was good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I thought the presenters, I always feel proud when I see how fluent they are in English. They've obviously worked at it, but that makes me proud to have taught English to Dutch people to watch them do that.
Yeah.
They just kicked ass. You wouldn't get that in Spain. You just wouldn't. It makes me proud.
Great.
Yeah.
Jokes about the Dutch people. We talked about it in the last interview.
Yep.
Anything you saw the last 3 months that you noticed from our little country
that needs to be addressed on stage
or here?
Yeah. You know what? No, there isn't any. I'm not working on any bits that really address that.
No.
I'm trying to get I don't know if we talked about that, but trying to get away from that. I feel a little typecast in that as the American abroad. Oh, he's going to think all these crazy things in these foreign countries. It's a great act and it works, but I'd like to I want to go where Hicks went, man.
Yeah.
That type of shit. I don't know how to do it. And he obviously was an absolute maestro with how many years of stage experience? He started when he was like 17 or some crazy thing.
I've seen a lot of comedians. I never heard a comedian talk about fasting. So that could
Can you make fasting funny? I think I can, because it is pretty ridiculous how much easier it is than you think. I mean, there's humor in that, and also, but just some of the craving moments, yes.
But losing 14 kilos in 3 months, that's also a story, I guess.
Yeah.
Because weight is a thing for everybody.
Yeah.
Not only women, but also men here in Holland.
Yeah.
And for me personally.
Yeah, is that a thing for you, is weight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when I see pictures of myself, I always say this is a picture from 10 years and 10 kilos ago.
I saw it. I saw the pictures.
Yeah,
it's true.
And it fascinates me how it seems so easy for other people, in this example, to just get that mindset and go for it. And I always think, well, it's just a body. I don't have to look at myself. You know,
I hear you, man. I totally hear you on that. And here's what I would say to that. Clearly you're curious. I would say my entry into it was the 16-8 program. That is the easiest sort of entry-level intermittent fasting, which means that for 16 hours you don't eat. So all you're doing is skipping breakfast. And you can eat whatever the fuck you want. There's no Weight Watchers counting calories. There's none of that going on. It's not even about weight loss in general. It's just about health.
Yeah.
That is pretty doable, man. I think give it a shot. Look some shit up. Google some stuff.
Intermittent
fasting. It's not as hard as you think. And dude, if this is an issue for you, it's a game changer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And you're a
about
spiritual person. Why I'm so attracted to it is also the spirituality of it, of what it does to you.
But you have to you don't do it by yourself. You do it with your girlfriend.
See, and that was very inspiring to me. And I'm on the extended fast, and it's good to have a coach, because she'll be like, have you taken the electrolytes? Have you taken the salt?
Yeah.
You know where it's not just the kilos, but it's also what's happening with fat and everything else. So we have this scale that gives you. It's good to have a coach.
And doesn't it stop you from going to the toilet? I mean, how does that change?
No pooping if you're fasting. That's true.
Pooping.
But in intermittent fasting, yes. Because you're just eating. You're eating 2 meals a day. All you're doing is skipping breakfast, man. Yeah. That's all it is.
But I really love the subject that it also has a link to depression.
Yeah.
That it can... that it helps each other to cure something that doesn't... Not immediately a link between what you're eating and depression.
Yeah.
Have you before set that link that this could lead to that, or maybe enhance it?
Well, are you asking me did you see the link between nutrition and diet and mental health?
Yeah.
No. The answer is no. But once I started, and you start to read and you research and you start to learn my relationship to sugar, that's an addiction. Yeah. And that, I mean, I have since learned that something like a cupcake or cookies or whatever, ice cream, is very much a dopamine reducing, secreting food. Yeah. That's a drug food. That's essentially cocaine, to be honest.
It creates dopamine.
The dopamine is happening when you I mean, a McDonald's meal where I go, if I was going to do it, Big Mac menu, Coke, fries, mayonnaise. There's fucking sugar in all of that. You know what I mean? I'm high as a kite after that meal.
So it's just the next shot from the dope dealer.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a dopamine secretion, no question. And that's why I'm so plant-based curious, but I'm not there yet. I'll be honest with you.
What I love about you, David, is that you don't point the finger that much. I in the last conversation we did and a lot of other podcasts, you hear me talk about, well, it's I have to blame capitalism.
Who's the scapegoat in this house?
I have to blame my father. I have to blame my mother. I don't hear you about saying anything about your father or mother, anything about your upbringing, anything about the schools you went.
Well, thank you, man. I mean, I'll take that as a compliment. I'm not aware that that's going on, but my parents did the best they could, man. They really did. They were coming from love, no question. Most people are, don't you think?
But you don't blame your father for drinking, for example?
How can I, man? He went to this war. He was fucking 21 years old. Yeah. He had a kid she was pregnant. He goes over there. He's trained to kill people. Yeah. He kills a shitload of people. Yeah. Comes home. She gets pregnant again. He goes again, dude. He gets
to Vietnam.
Yes. He gets back from his second tour as a Navy helicopter pilot, flying the SEALs around for mass murder missions, and does not get 1 minute of mental health counseling from the United States Navy. No. Doesn't even get an offer. How can I blame him? No, where else was he going to go? Yeah. His dad was an alcoholic. My mother's dad was an alcoholic. That's what they learned.
Yeah.
That's where you go. They're both World War II veterans who, they were messed up too. I don't know, man.
But isn't blame then a subject in your life? Who are you blaming then? Yourself, or is blame just out of the question?
Yeah, I don't think it's entirely out of the question. I mean, it's hard. That's lizard brain too. You want a scapegoat.
Yeah, or I'll blame yourself.
If I had to go anywhere, I would say it would go inside. Yeah, I would blame myself. And that's part of the self-hate and part of the reason that therapy is so important to me now. So yeah, that's.
And isn't that a cultural thing then? Is it for Italians?
Oh wow,
that's not done. Blaming your father, mother, too much respect.
Well, I never thought of it that way. It could be. You got to have respect for those who come, especially the men, and the women too. But no, that's not fair. The men and the women, but we're more open and intimate with the women. And the men, that's distant, but stoic, but macho, but tough, and all that stuff.
It reminds me of the great series The Sopranos with Tony Soprano.
Yeah, those guys are real.
Yeah,
those guys are real. They're in New Jersey.
I can imagine, and that's why the series is so good. And they didn't show appreciation to each other. I remember about giving like lots of love. No, they give envelopes with money.
There you go. That's it. Yeah. I mean, like they're showing love. Hey, I'm just breaking your balls.
Yeah.
That's like I love you.
Yeah.
I'm breaking your balls. Yeah. Come on, Paulie. Breaking your balls. That's love.
Yeah.
And I think at the time perhaps it would have been better for me if my father was more warm and loving, but looking back now that he's passed out of his body into the next universal plane, I don't blame the man. I really don't.
Is it about appreciation then? I've been searching for I don't know if appreciation is the right word. You're an English teacher. You can help me. Validation by your father. That I've been looking for it for, let's say, almost 40 years, and then suddenly I realized that he doesn't validate himself. So how could he validate me in being enough, being good enough?
Great point. He can't.
No.
Only we can. That's for sure. And it's got to come from the inside. It isn't going to come from a big radio career, is it?
No, yeah. You can reach the newspapers every day, front page, but it still fades away.
It's the outside world. Yeah. It's not going to give us what we need on the inside. That's impossible. And that's hard work to be like, okay, you mean the career isn't going to do it? The money's not going to do it.
The successful podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Not going to do it.
So how are your sons? How are they doing?
That's a fun question. They're doing extremely well. I am so proud of these boys. So I just got to spend a week with them during the May vacation, and I was with them in their mother's house in Utrecht, and it was just great to do the day-to-days.
What do you do then?
Just hang out, just do the day-to-day. That was winter in May. I don't know if you remember the weather that week.
Yeah.
Atrocious. So we didn't do much. What do? Cook. We worked on homework. I had to do math homework for my youngest Timo, which is you don't want to see me doing math homework.
He's 13?
He's about to turn 15, actually.
okay.
So the boys are doing well. They really are, and it was great to hang out with them.
We're talking about Timo or Mick?
Timo is the youngest. He's 15, and Mick is 17.
Oh, okay.
He'll be 18 next year. He'll be 18 next year. I repeat. Wow. How old is your daughter?
She's 12.
Yeah, right. So that's adulthood, Patrick.
Yeah, I know. Is he riding a car?
Are you kidding me? He's got the Vespa.
Oh, the Vespa.
They've all got the Vespa.
Yeah, of course. Italian.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of it that way. Yeah, absolutely.
Are they curious about your Italian roots? Do they ask about it?
Yes, Sopranos is something that's come up a lot. My Timo got very involved in The Godfather this winter. We watched all 3 of them together. So yeah, they're definitely curious. They never really got to know my parents that well. We spent a fair amount of time together when they were really little, but they don't really remember it. So they don't have a visceral connection to that culture, but they know it's my heritage.
And Italian food? Do you cook a lot with them?
Certamente. Va bene, ragù. Do I cook a lot with them? No, but I have one recipe from my Nonna Mangini, and it's bolognese. And when we cook it, it's a spiritual moment for sure. It's been a while, actually, since I've cooked that for them. Oh, now I'm getting hungry. Shouldn't talk about spaghetti in the fast, Patrick.
No. Because when is your next eat moment then?
I don't know. I think Saturday I'll break my fast after yoga.
So you're only on water and tea right now and coffee?
Electrolyte pills, salt. Yes, just it's a water fast. Dude, you can do it. It's not that hard.
It sounds so bizarre.
I know it does. It did to me too, man. It did to me too. I really, when I got to know the community, I thought you people are freaks.
Yeah.
I'm off that now.
One more Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
It is and has been and will forever be, this world of ours, a fucking joke. Bill Hicks, Love All the People, Letters, Lyrics, and Routines. That's the book.
A fucking joke. So, yeah. Okay, how do you interpret that?
Well, don't take life seriously.
Right.
Maybe that's the biggest problem of all, that we come with nothing, we go with nothing, but we take this 80, 90 years, if we're lucky, as very seriously.
Yeah. It ain't. Clock's ticking, my brother.
Yeah, I know.
You know, he really can get me into that space. Hicks really can.
Because you believe him.
I do believe him. I think Bill Hicks was absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
I sure do. Yeah.
But then immediately people will hear this, and also my family, they say, if you believe that, then everything goes to the shithole.
Right. This is the end of civilization.
Yeah, because you have to at least pretend that you care. And what about the planet? And what about this and that? And what about your money? And
right. Well, it's not, I wouldn't say that it's not, I don't think he's preaching indifference. I think he's a man of deep love and deep, meaningful care. And I feel those things, and I know you do too. Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
So it's not, I mean, I care about shit, and I feel that there is meaning, but at the same time, we're on a 13.8 billion year old planet spinning in the middle of fucking nowhere, Mr. Kickin'. And, it's temporary.
Yeah. But where did that come from, that we have to take life that seriously? Is it because of school or?
Wow. Let's explore that. Why do we do that?
Yeah. Maybe the war?
It could be trauma. I don't know. But also our brains are quite advanced, and they're sort of built for solve shit, get rid of shit, take care of shit. Yeah. And, that's serious business.
Yeah. Could it be the fear of death then, that we don't want to, we know that we're going to die. So we're.
Now you're onto something. Yeah.
All day we're like forgetting that and focusing our attention on this.
I like that. Yes. That makes a lot of sense. That's scary. Death is coming. That's something about being suicidal, man. That will teach you death is the greatest gift in life. You see it right in the eyes. Yeah. This is it, man. This is it.
And why is it such a gift?
Because you realize how precious life is. Mm. I didn't in that window. It took me a little while to get out of the fog, but I really see it now. It's an incredible teacher, don't you think? Mm-hmm. Man.
Yeah.
For appreciation of our moments on this planet, death will do it.
A lot of great spiritual teachers also say that the only way you can appreciate life if you embrace death.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. Same coin.
Dude, I think Western culture's not as advanced about that as the Eastern cultures are, about how death is okay. It's we can talk about it. It's all right.
Yeah.
How
do you feel about cultures where they mourn when somebody is born and they celebrate when somebody dies.
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't aware of that. Who does that? The Indians do that?
Yeah, in Suriname, and they really have this upside down vision on.
Tell me about the morning of birth. What is that about?
Well, that life is a test.
Okay, and it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's going to be hard and suffering, and then you have to earn your way to
enlightenment.
Valhalla, whatever.
That I did not know that. You're teaching me again. Being schooled by kicking. Cool. I like it. I do. I like it. I would like to really, that's something the Irish do very well. They have the wakes and the funerals a party, man. Yeah. There might be a little drink involved.
Yeah.
But they do party as a celebration for the death. And I believe in that.
Yeah. So, we're on a track with death.
You didn't know that when you hit record.
No,
where are we going?
No,
I mean, just let me say, have you been to a Calvinist funeral in this country with Calvinist people?
Oh, Calvinist.
Just meaning sort of Protestant.
Yeah.
Doe normaal, dan doe je gek genoeg-achtige toestanden. Those funerals are
very
dark.
Serious. Yeah.
Serious. That's the word.
Yeah. We talk about death, and the Chinese sign is gonna, which means love is everlasting.
Confucius is speaking to us. He says, "Fellas, you're on the right track."
Yeah. Talk about that some more.
Party. At your funeral.
Would it be a good thing then to travel more and to go to India to see how they put that dead body on a fire and on the Ganges? Yeah, that's a sign we have to do it.
And that thing's in every video of you on YouTube. that thing. That's how I know it's your house, because of that thing. Now I'll be lost.
But have you been to India?
No, but I want to go, man. My list is so long, Patrick. Yeah? And I am broke as a joke right now. COVID has devastated my finances. So there is no travel in my near future. But
what's your shoe size?
My shoe size is 45. Interesting question. How did we go there?
Yeah, because I have those Vans I have to show you, but they're my size, 43. I'm guessing they're still new in a box.
You have Vans? How did we get from India to Vans? How did that happen to you?
I don't know.
That's an interesting glimpse into the inner workings.
You tell me about that your COVID has drained your
you want to give me shoes?
I want to give you shoes.
Dude, what a sweetheart.
That's how I...
No, I'm too big for those shoes.
Okay.
I like Vans, though.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Okay.
India, yes.
We have to go back to the main thing. India. Yep. Okay, so you want to go to India.
Yep.
Where two more? Australia?
Bali, and I want to go to Africa. I've not been to that continent. I want to go to Africa.
And what do you hope to find there?
That's a deep question.
Yeah, because I think we travel to find something.
Yeah. What am I looking for in going to India? I can't answer that.
Happiness?
Happiness. I was just listening to a podcast on the way over here about how fleeting that is to have that as a goal. It's a byproduct, but not a goal. I don't know, man. That's a great question. I don't know why.
Just a nice experience?
The animals is what attracts me.
Okay.
So maybe there's something in the sort of appreciation and gratitude for animals instead of killing them.
Yeah. Maybe, adventure?
Yeah, and beauty. I would like to go to be honest with you, to start in South Africa, which can combine my love for golf, which is a lifelong passion, with the safari. And in the past, when I still drank wineries, but that's off the list, except for Dominique. Maybe I'll go and drink Spa Rouge.
Okay. And how are you going to finance all those vacations then? Do you have a plan for that?
I don't have a plan, but I have a deep-seated belief that if we put it out to the universe and we keep doing the next right thing, we'll get there. I will get out of this debt that I'm in, which is all self-created, my own mistakes. Because COVID is, we didn't see that coming, but that accentuates it. But I believe just keep doing the gritty thing, keep moving forward. Yeah. I've completely changed the way I spend money because I've had to. It's interesting. Have you ever gone through, we've talked about shopping, you and I.
Yeah.
Shopping addiction.
Yeah.
It is an interesting challenge to be like, I can't spend anything.
A dime.
No.
No.
Gas in the car and groceries.
That's it.
That's it. And I had a little bit of extra money from Kindle birthday and Christmas presents that I could spend on Amazon. That's an interesting journey.
Yeah. Like, what did it do? Make you humble?
Yeah, definitely humility in there, but also, dude, we don't need what we think we need. And I want nice stuff, and I want those earpods, and I want that iMac. I do, man.
The BMW, you
sure,
bought it?
I do. But that is not a destination. I've really learned that. And it's easier than you think. Again, that hardship is so mental.
So I can't offer you an apple right now, a banana.
Cup of tea would be nice.
Okay, I'm going to fix a new cup of tea.
Nice.
If people are interested, where can they find more about you?
Right.
And from you?
Well, my book is called How to Not Kill Yourself. It's available on Bol.com. And the podcast is the same title. So they could go to the podcast app, How to Not Kill Yourself, David Mangine. That's there. And my website is davemangine.com, which is a little outdated. We're hopefully going to get to a new one. But I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. Come find me. That'd be wonderful.
Is there a listening version of your book?
Yes, there is an audible version on Bol.com.
Yeah.
And again, God, we keep coming back to my good friend Dion. He's the guy in the band who brought up the conversation. There he is again. He was the actor who did the voiceover.
Oh.
He did a brilliant job.
Great.
Shout out to Dion, man.
We're going to check it.
Yeah.
And you're going to be on stage again with the Omdenken tour.
Yes, we're going on tour with the band. So wonderful story. Can I end with that story?
Yep.
You are moving towards an end. Is that what's happening here?
Yep.
Okay. I want to tell you the story because it's so fun. I get a call 6 weeks ago on a Saturday afternoon. I was with my kids, and it is Bertolt, my beloved Bertolt. And he says...
The founder of Omdenken.
Correct. The creator of it and the creative genius behind it. And he says, what are you doing in September? I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Lockdown? He said, how about you get the band and we go on tour? I said, are you shitting me? Who is this? Long story short, he had written a show, which has been booked in the theaters for this season and next season as well. And that it was a one-man show, and it was quite dark. It was about his relationship primarily with his mother, and the timing's not right. It's a wonderful show and profound stuff, but we need a party. And they sensed that.
Yeah.
Anna McRae as well. They sense it's not the right time for a dark show about
people want to
party.
Yeah.
He said, let's get the band. Let's write a new show.
Yeah.
Talk about ambition. We got 4 months to write a show that's booked for 49 shows.
Wow.
It's not written yet. You know what I mean? The band is starting to rehearse.
Yeah.
This thing is real, and we're going to do it. So we will be we premiere on September 2nd in Lelystad, and then we go to every town from Groningen to...
Are you visiting
Maastricht.
this neighborhood? Please let me know.
I will certainly keep you heads up on that. I'll be posting about it regularly. It's going to be great fun.
Yeah, from Omdenken, there's also a podcast where Bertolt does his famous technique with the people.
Correct.
Okay, and your new book is coming in 2022.
Yep. It's going to be in the catalog, the Ave Bruna catalog coming up in the summer. For next January.
Take the microphone with you.
That's Confucius. He's like, be peaceful to the microphones.
Namaste. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah,
and
please,
pleasure.
Yeah, check out the other. We did 2 more conversations. You interviewed me for your podcast. It's still online. It's in Dutch.
Yep.
And I interviewed my friend David for Leven zonder stress.
Yes.
And it's also still online.
And this one is Life Without Stress.
Life Without Stress,
nice.
the English version.
Nice.
You can find it also on the platforms.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
Thank you, brother.